goes right about here. Or not. Welcome back. This is part 2 of the classic auto air AC install in my 66 Chevy Caprice. We're up to the electrical portion now. Basically what we have to do is locate the original wire harness that was attached to the blower switch, and then we cut that connector off, and we'll be putting the 1/4 inch male spade connectors on the different wires as we hook them up to the new wiring harness that is now on the controller. This is the guy right here. That's the wiring harness that they're talking about. And apparently there's a brown wire on it I've got to find. That's the first thing they say I've got to clip off and attach a spade connector to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I won't be able to show you this because I'm going to have my big old pumpkin head in the way and you won't see it anyway. So we'll just fast forward to the point where I'm done with it, and then we'll show you that. So I've taken care of that. I've got the spade connector onto the brown wire. You can see it right here. So the next thing I'm supposed to do is drill a hole for the temperature cable and the clutch wire just to the right of the firewall pad attachment plug. I have not found that yet, but I have a feeling that pretty much any place over on this side of the firewall is going to be okay for putting that cable through. And once the temperature cable has been put out through the hole, that's essentially all the modifications that have to be done on the inside, so we can start putting things back together. Have to put the knee knocker on next. Okay, so this takes care of the knee knocker. The controller is in, knee knocker is in, and now, before I move on to anything else, I've got a real rat's nest under here of wires that have to be cleaned up and gotten out of the way. So I'm going to do that first, and then we'll move on to the next step in the process. Okay, I've got the knee knocker back in place, and I cleaned up the existing wires that were under there, so now we're just down to the harness that goes to the new AC unit. So this unit is called the evaporator, and over here this section is called the air distribution duct. I'm supposed to screw these together. It's got 4 screws. They're number 10 by 5/8 panhead. And then once that's together, we're going to take this and put it into the car. Okay, I got the last of the screws in here. So this is ready to go into the car. Okay, so this unit is in the car now. It's very difficult to get this in with just one person. It requires actually 2 people, and I'll show you why. What you have to do is push the unit up into the area behind the glove box so that this mounting stud right here pops through that hole, and then you need to put this little 1/4 nut on there in order to hold it in place. So it takes 2 people to do this. One person to maneuver it up, and then the second person, once that stud has gone through the firewall hole, to put the nut on there to hold it in place. The next thing they want you to do is start attaching this whole unit to the body of the car. This particular piece here was already attached, and all I'm supposed to do is drill a couple of holes into the side of the body there and sink a couple of Tek screws in. There's a second one that on the other side that I'm going to have to attach, and that might be a little trickier, but for right now we'll get started on this first one, and that one should be fairly straightforward if I can get a drill in there. Alright, I got them both in there. This is set, and I've got the other one over there. So we're ready to move on. I think we're going to go to the front of the car now. So we're going to do a little work up in the front here now. What they want us to do is locate the suction tube and the liquid tube, some O-rings, and that TXV bulb clamp. And what we're going to be working on is installing the liquid line, and also we'll be installing the suction tube on the other outlet. So we're going to work on that. I'll see if I can't get this set up so that you can see it. These are the parts that I have to install. This one goes down here, and then this one is installed this way, and it's going to be sticking out like that. I'm supposed to find a couple of O-rings and get some mineral oil on them to lubricate them up. There's 3 sizes grommet. I don't know if you can see this. Let me hold it up. You've got the number 10, the number 8, and the number 6. And on this tube, I'm supposed to use a number 8. So we'll get that lubed up, get it on the tube, and work on getting it on the car. Had to get my cap so I don't Gorbachev off my head when I bang it on this hood. So this takes a 3/4 inch wrench. And you gotta snug this down good and tight, but not so tight that you would break it, because that's a brass fitting. So the next thing we're going to do is put the other fitting in. I've got to get that prepared with the O-ring and the mineral oil, and then we'll get that on. So this piece of copper here is the sensor, and this has to go over here. It's going to be attached to this tube, and I've got to use this clamp. Okay, I wanted to get you in close so you can see how that attaches. So now that is making contact with the side of the tube, and that's how it's supposed to get the sensing for how cold it is. So before I move on, the directions say that we're supposed to use this refrigerant tape, and I've got to wrap that completely so that the metal is not exposed. I have to make sure that this will still turn, so that's got to stay free, but the rest of it is got to be covered up. Now we have to put this plate on. This is just a plastic plate. It's got this insulation on here. It's kind of sticky too. It's sort of like the tape itself. I'm going to make some slits in here so that I can get this stuff through. We'll poke it through. I'm supposed to then use the 6 number 10 Tech screws to get that in. So we'll do that next. So this plate's in. We were just using these number 10 Tech screws to get it in place. I had to zing off a little piece of it right there in order to have it fit just under the fender well there. I was having a little difficulty in getting it to stay properly, so I just cut a little of it off. I think it's going to be fine. So we're back inside the car, and we're going to be doing some work under the dash. We have to start connecting up these the wire harness to the different connections. It says that you have to route the long blue wire through the firewall along with the long cable, but we already did that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get in here and show you this. I cannot fit my regular camera in, and I'm using my phone for this right now. So it's quite likely you may not be able to see this, but if I can film it, I will try.